Hey, good morning, College Works Painting. This is Jeff Gunnis with your 4 minutes of safety. We had a great safety call this week, and I was very excited to share with you guys the good news that we are doing twice as good as we were last year in terms of number of injuries we've had so far this year. So you guys are doing a great job, and I couldn't be more proud. Now there's always good news, and unfortunately there's bad news. And the bad news is the very next day after that phone call, where I was able to share all that good news for you, we had to let go an intern because he was on a job site with one person on a 40-foot ladder without a harness and another person on a roof without a harness. Now, this intern told us that he knew the rules, he knew that if he was caught, he would be fired, and yet he still chose to do it. So it's very frustrating because this is somebody who has worked the entire preseason to get this far into the summer. We're now at the beginning of July, and made the conscious decision to not follow the rules and put their guys at risk. So obviously that person doesn't share our values and had to be let go from the program. But what it got me thinking about is that as I talk more and more with top performers in my intern and DM meetings I do throughout each week, I've realized that really I think the VPs and the SIs have done such a great job of disseminating the information about what our safety program requirements are that people could probably know what the right thing to do is. It's like when you go on a diet. If you go to somebody who wants to lose weight and you ask them, how do you lose weight? They know, eat less, exercise more. So that's not the hard part. The hard part is how do you actually put those things into place and how do you execute on those? So I wanted today in our 4 minutes of safety talk a little bit about some ideas around execution, and these things fall into anything that you want to do in your business or in your life, really. The first thing I want to talk about is sometimes you have to go slow to go fast. So number one, sometimes you have to go slow to go fast. And what that means is sometimes we're in such a hurry to paint a house as fast as we can, to get around the house as fast as we can, that there's touch-ups and cleanups all over the place, and we end up having to do a lot more work at the end of the job. As opposed to if we just stop for a second, spend a half hour of really plotting the job out, walking our painters around, creating task lists, and really slowing down to make sure we had a good plan in place, then we would be a much better job of having an efficient job site. Same exact thing for safety. Sometimes you have to go slow to go fast. You have to go slow at the beginning, create that great safety plan, do that walk around, talk about safety with your painters, and do that great tailgate talk, and then you'll end up being much more efficient over the course of that entire job, in the course of your entire summer. So that's the first thing. Sometimes you have to go slow in order to go fast. The next thing is to create a checklist and follow it. You hear me in these calls and on the national calls all the time talking about, I don't care if you learn or if I can quiz you about what the proper steps to paint a lead house are. All I care about is that you know where the checklist is in the safety guidebook on your safety binder on your job site, and you know that every job you're going to go on that checklist and go down that list check mark by check mark. You know, I've talked about before that commercial airline pilots, before every time they fly, they walk around the outside of the airplane with a checklist and they check off that they're doing a visual inspection of the aircraft. Some of those people have been doing that for 20 years, and they never go, well, I know this pretty well, done it for 20 years, I'll just do it by memory. They use a checklist every time. And that's great no matter what you're trying to do. If you're trying to do continue to do sales this summer, go down that checklist of all the steps in the sales process. If you're trying to study for finals next semester, go down your checklist of everything that happened in that chapter or in that quarter or that semester. That's the way successful people do it, to make sure they don't miss anything. The third thing is to create great habits, and habits have to be formed. Studies to show at least over a 3-week period it can become cemented in with what you do on a regular basis. So you want the things that are important to you to become just a part of your habit. So you think about it, in the morning when you wake up, you hopefully have a habit of brushing your teeth. Well, you don't have to think about which side of the mouth you start on or how you do it. You're half asleep. You probably brush your teeth the same exact way every day, just out of habit. Well, same thing when you're dealing with safety, when you're dealing with how you do your sales process, when you deal with how you study, when you deal with anything that you want to be successful at. Create great habits so you do it the same way every time, and that way success just becomes a habit for you. So those are our 3 things of the going slow to go fast, create a checklist and stick to it, and then create great habits through repetition. Those 3 things alone will help you be more safe this summer and will help you be successful if you want to continue with your sales process, where you want to produce more work this summer, get better grades next year. Really, anything you want to do, those 3 things can help you out. Once again, I want to thank everybody for their hard work so far this year. Let's keep up the good work. Here are 3 more safety tips for you to make sure your guys are safe this summer. We'll see you next week, and we'll see you in 2 weeks on July 15th for the next All Hands Nationwide Safety and Production Tips call. Take care, guys.